Hi guys. If you haven't scheduled a time to meet with me today, make sure you do that so that we can go over your paragraph. And so now I'll talk about what we're doing today. So earlier in the week, I gave you the subject of gummy worms, and I showed you how many different topics could be related to that subject. There were 6 different topics that could be related to the subject of gummy worms. How I went from loving gummy worms to hating them, and so on. There are many different topics that can come up about the subject of gummy worms. And the whole purpose of allowing you to realize this is to expand your abilities as writers. So if you're given a particular subject, you can see that there are many different sort of avenues that you can take if you want to write about that subject. We're going to work a little bit more on this idea today. So today what I've posted is this. Right below this video, I've posted this document. And this document starts off with saying, at the start of this week's gummy worm assignment, you were shown one subject. You were shown how one subject can lead to many different subjects. Today, you will be getting practice with all of the different ways to write about one subject. And then it says step 1, review the different purposes for writing in the table below. So you just review the different purposes in this table. There's all sorts of different reasons or purposes for writing about a particular subject, okay? There's express and reflect. So if you want to write with the purpose of expressing and reflecting, well, what you're doing is you're expressing your current feelings and then you're reflecting back on how your feelings changed, all right? And I know you probably can't read this now, but it's all posted right below. So that's express and reflect. And when we were talking about gummy worms, that related to the topic that I came up for you if you use this one. I used to love gummy worms, now I despise them. So you're expressing your feelings about how you felt about gummy worms, and then you talk about an experience that made you dislike them, or vice versa. So that's express and reflect. Express your feelings, reflect on how things changed or if they changed. So you're looking back on an experience and talking about how that experience changed you. That's express and reflect. And then there is another purpose for writing about a particular subject is inform and explain. If you were writing about gummy worms and you wanted to inform and explain, you would inform your reader about something that they might not know and then explain the details, all right? That could be the subject that we talked about this week, about diabetes. Some of your readers may not know that eating a certain amount of gummy worms could really negatively affect someone with diabetes, and they may not know exactly how it would affect them. All right, so you inform your reader of this, and then you explain how they would be affected. And you can do this with any subject. I'm just using gummy worms as an example. Another purpose for writing is to evaluate and judge. And I keep showing you the back of the sheet for some reason, but this is what you should be looking at. Evaluate and judge. Okay? So with evaluate and judge, you compare different things and then judge which one is the best or the worst. So this is like a comparison. If you're comparing different video games or different consoles, or in the case of gummy worms, comparing different brands and then evaluating them, talking about what they consist of, or with video games, talking about their quality, and then comparing them and judging which one you think is the best. So that's evaluate and judge. That's for that purpose. Another purpose that you can write about a subject for is to inquire and explore. So with inquire and explore, if you're writing with this purpose in mind, then you will ask a question that does not have a definite answer and then explore the possibilities. For the gummy worms, I came up with the one that says, what would happen if you ate nothing but gummy worms for 3 weeks? I mean, there is sort of a definite answer for this. I mean, you'd be in really bad shape, right? But you would go into more detail and you would sort of explore the different health consequences that could result from you eating too many gummy worms. You can also write with the purpose of analyzing and interpreting. All right, if you analyze and interpret, you take a complicated subject and you break it down into parts to gain a better understanding of it. And then for the very last one, take a stand or propose a solution. All right, this is an example of this with the gummy worms. Those gummy worms should not be sold in stores. That's the stand that you're taking. And you can propose a solution like, oh, we should have healthy things in stores. We should have things that maybe just as good as gummy worms, but that are a lot more healthy, or even healthier versions of gummy worms in stores. So that's taking a stand and proposing a solution. So you can do this not just with gummy worms, you can do this with pretty much any topic that you're given. And on step 2 here, I show you what I mean by that. So in step 2, I say, if you keep these various purposes in mind, you will realize that many different writing topics can come from one subject. And then I give you a few examples. The first one is volleyball. You could write about volleyball with the purpose of expressing and reflecting, where you write about how I came to love volleyball. So you express your experience and how you feel, how you felt when playing volleyball, and how you started really loving it as time goes on. So you reflect on the past and talk about how you've changed today and how that past has changed you. If you're writing about volleyball, you could also write about the rules of volleyball. All right, that's informing and explaining. You're informing your reader of the rules and explaining the rules of volleyball. You could also, if you're writing about volleyball, write with the purpose of evaluating and judging. Okay, and the example that I give for this, you could evaluate the worst game I ever played. All right, so you look into the details of that game, and you make a judgment as to which game was the worst game that you ever played. Inquire and explore. So if you're writing about volleyball with the purpose of inquiring and exploring, you could ask, what is the history of volleyball? So that's a question you could pose, and you can explore the various details about the history of volleyball through your writing. Then analyze and interpret. Why did we lose the game against Santa Rosa High School? So you break down the game, the various periods of the game, what happened during each period, who did what, and then you analyze what went wrong, what caused you to lose the game. And then if you want to take a stand or propose a solution, you could say the referees need more training. So I'm not going to go over this whole sheet. I feel like I've sort of gone too far already. But what step 2 is doing is showing you examples. And I have another one too. I have skateboarding. So it shows you an example of all the different topics that can come up from one single topic when you keep all the different purposes in mind. For step 3, I'm having you pick your own topic or pick your own subject. Okay, so you can choose from the subject in the table, or you can pick your own. I provided the subject if you can't think of one. And then you'll go down to step 4, and you'll include your subject right here, and then you will come up with 6 different topics that relate to your subject. You'll come up with 6 different ways of writing about your subject. And if you don't remember, they have to be linked to the purposes. And if you don't remember how to use each purpose, look at the front page. All right? So make sure you message me if you have any questions. I hardly ever get messages during the day. I'm kind of surprised. I guess it seems like you all are getting this pretty well. The essays were really good. But do message me if you have any questions.